The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. Chapter 18. Away to the South. Dorothy wept bitterly when her last hope of returning to Kansas disappeared. Yet, upon reflection, she was glad that she had not gone up in the balloon. Still, she grieved deeply for the loss of Oz, and her friends shared her sorrow. The Tin Woodman approached her and said, "Indeed, I would be most ungrateful if I did not mourn the man who gave me this tender heart. I feel that I must weep because Oz is gone, but please be so kind as to wipe away my tears, that I may not rust." "With pleasure," Dorothy replied, and at once brought him a towel. The Tin Woodman wept for several minutes, while she carefully wiped away each tear as it fell. The Scarecrow was now the ruler of the Emerald City, and although he was no wizard, the people were proud of him. For, they said, there is no other city in all the world that is ruled by a man of straw. And, so far as they knew, they were quite correct.
We have a new leader.
On the morning after the balloon had risen with Oz, the four companions gathered in the throne room to discuss their situation. The Scarecrow sat upon the great throne, while the others stood respectfully before him. "We are not so unfortunate, after all," said the new ruler. "This palace and the Emerald City are now ours, and we may live here as we please. When I think that only a short while ago I was set upon a pole in a farmer's cornfield, and that now I sit as the ruler of this splendid city, I find myself well content with my fate." "I, too, am perfectly satisfied," said the Tin Woodman. "My new heart pleases me greatly, and truly, it was the only thing I ever desired in all the world. As for me," said the Lion modestly, "I am content in knowing that I am as brave as any creature that ever lived, if not braver. If only Dorothy were willing to live in the Emerald City," said the Scarecrow thoughtfully, "then we might all be happy together. But I don't want to stay here," cried Dorothy. "I want to go back to Kansas and live with Aunt Em and Uncle Henry." "Then what can we do?" asked the Tin Woodman gently. The Scarecrow set himself to thinking, and he thought so deeply that the pins and needles in his head began to stick out. At length he said, "Why not summon the winged monkeys and ask them to carry you across the desert?" "I never thought of that before," cried Dorothy joyfully. "It's the perfect plan. I'll fetch the golden cap at once." When she brought it back into the throne room, she spoke the magic words, and soon the band of winged monkeys came flying through the open window to stand before her. "This is the second time you have called us," said the Monkey King, bowing low before the little girl. "What is your wish?" "I want you to fly with me to Kansas," said Dorothy earnestly. But the Monkey King shook his head. "That cannot be done," he replied. "We belong only to this land and cannot leave it. Never has a winged monkey been seen in Kansas, nor do I think there ever will be, for that is not our place. We shall gladly serve you in any way within our power, but we cannot cross the great desert. Farewell." With another low bow, the Monkey King spread his wings and flew away through the window, his whole band following after him. Dorothy was so disappointed that she was on the verge of tears. I have wasted the magic of the golden cap for nothing," she said. "The winged monkeys cannot help me at all." "That is truly unfortunate," said the tender-hearted Tin Woodman. The Scarecrow began to think once more, and his head swelled out so greatly that Dorothy feared it might burst. "Let us call the soldier with the green whiskers," he said, "and seek his advice." So the soldier was summoned and entered the throne room timidly, for while Oz had been alive, he was never permitted to come farther than the doorway. "This little girl," said the Scarecrow to the soldier, "wishes to cross the great desert. How can she accomplish that?" "I cannot tell," replied the soldier. "No one has ever crossed the desert unless it was Oz himself." "Is there no one who might help me?" asked Dorothy earnestly. "Perhaps Glinda could," suggested the soldier. "And who is Glinda?" inquired the Scarecrow. "She is the Witch of the South," replied the soldier. "The most powerful of all the witches, she rules over the Quadlings. Her castle stands at the very edge of the desert, so she may indeed know a way to cross it." "Glinda is a good witch, isn't she?" asked the child. "The Quadlings hold her to be good," said the soldier. "And she is said to be kind to all. I have also heard that Glinda is very beautiful and that she has learned the secret of keeping her youth despite the many years she has lived." "How may I reach her castle?" asked Dorothy. "The road runs straight to the south," replied the soldier. "But travelers say it is filled with dangers. Fierce beasts roam the woods, and there is a race of curious men who dislike strangers passing through their country. For that reason, none of the Quadlings ever come to the Emerald City." The soldier then took his leave, and the Scarecrow said, "It seems to me," said the Scarecrow, "that despite the dangers, the wisest course for Dorothy is to travel to the land of the South and seek Glinda's help. For if she remains here, she will surely never return to Kansas." "You have been thinking again, I see," remarked the Tin Woodman pleasantly. "Indeed I have," replied the Scarecrow. "I shall go with Dorothy," declared the Lion. "I am weary of this city and long for the forests and open fields once more. After all, I am a wild beast by nature. Besides, Dorothy will need someone to guard and protect her." "That is quite true," said the Tin Woodman. "My axe may also be of use to her, so I too will journey with her to the land of the South." "When do we begin our journey?" asked the Scarecrow.
When should we start?
"You mean to come with us?" they asked in surprise. "Certainly," replied the Scarecrow. "If it had not been for Dorothy, I should never have obtained my brains. She lifted me down from the pole in the cornfield and led me to the Emerald City. All my good fortune is due to her, and I shall not leave her side until she sets out for Kansas, once and for all." "Thank you," said Dorothy gratefully. "You are all very kind to me. But I should like to begin the journey as soon as possible. Then we shall start tomorrow morning," said the Scarecrow. "Let us all prepare, for the way will be long."